Hey there, friends. Imagine this. The sun's shining bright, the pool's sparkling like diamonds, and everything screams perfect summer day, the kind where you kick back, sip on your favorite cold drink, and let time slip away without a care in the world. That's exactly what I thought I was getting into when I planned a chill afternoon with my stepson Dylan. Trust me. We had big plans, floating on pool rafts, blasting tunes, and seeing who could pull off the most ridiculous cannonball. But as life tends to do, things didn't exactly go according to top. Then let me set the stage. Dylan, who's 20 and never turns down a chance to show off his diving skills, was hyped for the day. He'd been talking about this pool day for weeks, and me. Well, I'm Mia, your friendly narrator, just trying to enjoy the rare combo of good weather and great vibes. Everything started off smooth as silk. We splashed around, had a diving contest. He totally won, but don't tell him. I admitted that and soaked in the kind of laughter that makes summer feel magical. Even my husband James popped out from the house a few times to snap goofy pictures of us from the patio. Pure bliss, right? But here's the thing about bliss: it has a way of lulling you into a false sense of security. It was right around the time Dylan decided to test his ultimate backflip off the diving board that things got interesting. 1 second, he was soaring through the air like some kind of Olympic hopeful. And the next, well, let's just say it didn't go as planned. There was a thud, followed by a splash. Way too big for just one person. I knew something was off. The moment I saw Dylan surface, wide-eyed and coughing, that's when I noticed the well, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just say our relaxing day took a wild, unexpected turn that none of us saw coming. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss what happened next. Stay right here. There's way more to this story than a simple poolside mishap, so buckle up, hit that like button if you're already intrigued, and stick around because things are just getting started. So there's Dylan gasping for air, hair plastered to his face, eyes as wide as saucers. "Are you good?" I shout already, halfway across the pool. He waved, leads me off with one hand, coughing. "Yeah, he sputters, pausing mid-sentence. His face shifts from playful embarrassment to something I can only describe as seriously concerned. What I asked. Treading water right in front of him now, he just points to the edge of the pool I follow, his gaze expecting to see, I don't know, maybe broken pool noodle or his flip-flop floating away dramatically. But nope. That would have been too normal. Instead, there's this weird shimmer just beneath the water's surface near the deep end at first. I'd think it's just sunlight reflecting off the tiles. But Dylan's expression tells me it's not that simple. "What is that?" I ask, squinting, no clue. Dylan says, his voice quieter than usual. "But I felt something. When I landed." "You mean like the bottom of the pool?" "No," he insists, shaking his head. "It was soft, kind of rubbery." "Guess okay?" Now my brain is firing on all cylinders. Rubber in the pool. My immediate thought is, maybe part of the pool liner came loose. Though that doesn't quite explain the shimmer. James, who had gone inside to refill his drink, strolls back out, sunglasses perched on his nose. "Everything cool?" He asks, grinning like he just caught us plotting a prank. Dylan and I exchange a glance. "Yeah, totally fine," I lie, trying to keep the mood light. "No need to spook anyone until we figure out what's going on." Dylan just perfected the world's messiest backflip. James laughs and heads back to the patio with a casual wave. Meanwhile, Dylan and I drift closer to the shimmering spot. "You want to check it out?" Dylan asks, a mischievous glint creeping back into his eyes. Classic. Dylan give him a weird highs, and he's all in, sure. But maybe not right. This second I hedge, let's keep it chill for a minute. He nods, though I can tell he's itching to dive right back down. I make a mental note to Google weird pool phenomena later because I'm definitely not an expert on shimmering rubbery mysteries. But here's where things take an even stranger turn. We're floating. They're talking about literally anything. But the weird spot when suddenly the water ripples. Not from a breeze. Not from us moving. Around just this, a natural shift that makes the hairs on my arms stand up. Did you feel that? I whisper. Dylan nods, his playful grin completely gone. Yeah. And I think it's moving before I can even process that. Sentence, something brushes against my leg. I freeze. Dylan's eyes widen. Did you? Yep. I say, heart racing now. Neither of us moves, too stunned to even blink. What the heck did we just get ourselves into? I don't care how old you are. Something brushing against your leg in the water is an instant horror. Movie moment. Dylan and I lock eyes. Frozen in the pool. Our imaginations clearly running wild logically. I know it's probably just a stray leaf or some weird current caused by the pool pump, but my instincts. Oh, they're waving red flags like I just entered shark-infested waters, okay? Now I'm getting out. I announce, inching toward the edge. Wait, Dylan says, his voice low but steady. What if it's like a turtle or something, a turtle in the pool? I snort, trying to downplay the adrenaline pumping through my veins. I don't know. He shrugs. Grinning, despite the tension could be a mutant tone, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes, classic Dylan cracking jokes. Even when things get weird, but as much as I want to laugh, something about the shimmer beneath the water nags at me. We're about 3 ft from the pool wall when Dylan stopped swimming. Wait, Mia, he says. Seriously, what? Now I think it's still? There, he mutters, glancing down at the water. I risk a look too. My breath catching in my throat. That same shimmering patch near the deep end looks bigger. Now it's not just light dancing across the water. Anymore, it has shape. You seeing what I'm seeing? I whisper. Yep, and I'm pretty sure pool tiles don't do that. Before I can respond, James's voice breaks through the tension. Hey, you two coming out or moving in permanently? He's standing by the patio sipping his drink like he's got front row seats to some daytime comedy show. I force a smile and wave back. Be right there. Dylan's face is set, though. We can't just leave it. I sigh. It's probably nothing. Dill may be a trick of the water or something with the pool pump. You really believe that a challenge is nope? Not even a little. But there's the thing about being an adult. You get really good at pretending you're not freaked out. Even when every cell in your body is screaming, get out of, here, tell you what I offer, will. Google it, maybe call a pool guy if it's still acting weird tomorrow. Dylan gives me a skeptical look, but finally. Nods fine. But if it starts glowing green, I'm calling NASA. We climb out of the pool dripping wet and on edge as I grab towels from the rack. I catch Dylan glancing back at the water. You okay? I asked. Yeah, I don't know, Mia. It felt alive. I freeze at that word. Alive pools are supposed to be about chlorine and relaxation. Not life forms, but before I can dwell on it, James calls us over to the patio. Come on, burgers are ready. Reluctantly, we head toward him. But I can't shake the feeling that something is waiting for us back in that pool. And I have a sinking suspicion this isn't over. The burgers smelled amazing. And for a while it was easy to let the weirdness of the pool slip into the background. James was in his element, flipping patties and cracking dad jokes that made Di roll his eyes in mock agony. But even as I laughed along, something gnawed at the back of my mind. Dylan's words echoed like a warning, it felt. Alive, I kept sneaking glances back at the pool, half expecting to see that strange shimmer creeping toward the edge. But everything looked normal. Or at least, as normal as a pool could be. After what we just experienced. Hey, you okay? James asked, handing me a plate fed high with food. Yeah, I lied. Just a little. Distracted. Probably still thinking about getting beaten. That cannonball contest. Dylan teased, his grin wide. I smirked. You wish, kid. But the banter didn't shake the unease, clinging to me like wet pool water. And apparently I wasn't the only one who couldn't let it go. After dinner, while James headed inside to watch the game, Dylan pulled me aside. We should check it out again, he said quietly. I raised an eyebrow seriously. Come on, Miad. Don't you want to know what that was? Nope. Not even a little, I said flatly, but Dylan had that determined glint in his eye, the one that always meant trouble. What if it's like a sinkhole forming or something dangerous pressed? We can't just ignore it. I sighed, knowing he wasn't going to drop it fine, but we're being careful. Got it. Scout's honor, he said, grinning like he just won a prize. The sun had dipped, low by the time. We made our way back to the pool, casting. Long shadows across the yard. The water looked darker now, almost ominous. Under the fading light, see anything? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Dylan shook his head. Not yet. We stood there for a moment, the air thick with tension. Then, without warning, Dylan dove in. Dylan, I hissed, panicking as he disappeared beneath the surface. Seconds ticked by, each one stretching. Longer than the last, my heart raced, pounding in my ears. What was he thinking? Finally, he surfaced, gasping for air. There's something down there, he said, between breaths. My stomach flipped. What do you mean something? I don't know. He said, his voice achy, but its big ick knelt by the edge, my pulse thrumming. Did it move? He nodded grimly. Yeah, and I think it knows we're here. The weight of his words hit me like a ton of bricks. I scanned the water, every nerve in my body, on high alert. The pool was deadly still, but the feeling that we weren't alone was undeniable. Get out, I urged. Now. Dylan started swimming toward me, but halfway. There the water rippled, churned like something massive stirring beneath the surface. Dylan, hurry! I shouted, panic rising in my throat. But before he could reach me, a deep, unnatural hum filled the air, vibrating through the water and into my bones. I gripped the edge of the pool, heart racing as the shimmering mass beneath the surface began to rise. The hum deepened, rattling the pool deck and making my teeth vibrate. Dylan's strokes became frantic as he powered toward the edge, but the water fought against him, swirling like it had a mind of its own. Come on, Dylan, I screamed, reaching out my hand. He lunged forward, fingers just brushing mine as I grabbed his arm and hauled him onto the deck. We tumbled backward, gasping for air. You okay? I managed between breaths. Yeah. He panted, wide-eyed and dripping wet. But what was that? I have no idea. I admitted, my voice shaky. But it's not normal. We scrambled to our feet, instinctively backing away from the pool. The water had gone eerily still, the unnatural hum fading into silence for a second. It almost felt like we'd imagined the whole thing. And then it happened. A blinding flash of light erupted from the center of the pool, forcing us to shield our eyes. When the light faded, the water rippled outward in perfect circles, shimmering with an iridescent glow that made my skin crawl. That's new, Dylan muttered, his voice laced with disbelief. Before I could respond, the ground beneath us trembled. My heart raced as cracks spiderwebbed across the concrete deck, small chunks crumbling into the pool. We need to get James, is shouted. But just as we turned toward the house, we heard a thud, the unmistakable sound of the sliding glass door slamming. Shut. Dylan froze. Did he just lock us out? No way, I said, my voice faltering. James wouldn't do that. But when we reached the patio, my stomach sank. The door was locked tight, and through the glass, James stood perfectly still, staring straight ahead with an unsettling blank expression. James, I banged on the door. Open up. He didn't move. Dylan's face went pale. What's wrong with him? I don't know. I whispered, dread creeping into my chest. We both jumped as the hum returned louder, this time vibrating through the ground. The pool's glow intensified, casting strange shadows across the yard. This is bad, Dylan said grimly. Really bad. No kidding, I muttered. We need to figure out what's happening, and fast. Dylan scanned the yard, his jaw clenched. There's got to be something connecting all this, the pool, the weird hum, James acting off. I racked my brain, trying to make sense of the chaos. That's when I remembered something James had said earlier, right before dinner. I had the filter system service this morning. He'd mentioned casually. The guy said everything looked fine, but I swear the pool's been acting strange ever since. Dylan, I said urgently, what if they did something to the pool, messed with the system somehow? Like what cursed it? He joked weakly. I shot him. A look now's probably not the time to rule anything out. The hum deepened once more, and this time the shimmering mass in the water lurched upward, sending waves crashing over the edge. We need answers now. Dylan said, his voice steely, and as we braced ourselves for whatever came next, I knew one thing for sure. This was only the beginning. The water heaved violently, sending waves sloshing across the deck. Dylan and I stumbled backward, soaked to the bone as the glow intensified, bathing the entire yard in shimmering, unnatural light. The hum was deafening now, like the pulse of some ancient engine buried deep beneath the earth. Whatever is coming out of that pool, I don't want to meet it. I yelled over the chaos, agreed. Dylan shouted back, but running wasn't an option. The ground shook so hard it was impossible to stay on our feet. Cracks splintered across the concrete, and the air itself felt thick like static before a lightning strike. Then, with a final surge, the water exploded. We hit the deck, shielding our faces as spray rained down around us. When I dared to look up, my jaw dropped. Hovering above the pool was a mass of shimmering energy, twisting and writhing. Like it couldn't decide what shape to take, it crackled with electricity. Tendrils of light snapping against the air, and at its core, something dark and pulsing, a heart maybe, or a portal. To somewhere we definitely didn't want to go. What the heck? Dylan breathed, eyes wide. I had no words. None. The mass pulse, again sending shockwaves through the... Our James stood, frozen behind the glass door, unmoving, his expression disturbingly blank. We have to stop this, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. How? Dylan asked, panic creeping into his tone. What do you do when your pool turns into a sci-fi nightmare? I thought fast. The filter system, whatever had been done to it this morning, was the key. The filter controls, I shouted. If we shut it down, maybe we can stop whatever. This is Dylan. Didn't hesitate on it. We sprinted toward the control panel on the side of the house, dodging cracks and bursts of energy from the pulsing mass. Dylan yanked open the metal cover, revealing a mess of dials and switches. Which one? He asked, frantically. All of them, I yelled. Has slammed every switch down the system, groaning in protest. The hum wavered. The glow flickering like a dying light bulb. It's working, I shouted, but just as hope surged in my chest, the mass let out a piercing shriek. Its tendrils flailing wildly, one lashed out, striking the ground inches from us. Duck. Dylan tackled me to the ground as another tendril whipped overhead. The glow flickered, again, then imploded, inward with a deafening whoo. For a moment everything went still. We lay there, breathing hard, drenched and shaken. Did we do it? Dylan asked, his voice hoarse. I sat up, scanning the pool. The water was calm, crystal clear, as if nothing had happened. The cracks in the deck were gone. Even James stood blinking at us through the glass, looking confused but normal. Yeah, I said. I think we, but my words caught in my throat because there at the edge of the pool was a single shimmering tendril, curling slowly back into the water. Dylan followed my gaze, his expression grim, so not over. Shook my head, heart racing. Not even close, the shimmering tendril vanished beneath the water with one last ripple, leaving the pool eerily calm. Dylan and I stood there, drenched, breathless, and completely dumbfounded for a moment. All we could do was stare, waiting for, well, something to happen. But nothing did. No hum. No glow. No cracks splitting the ground. Just silence. You think it's really over? Dylan asked. Hesitantly, I took a shaky breath, scanning the now peaceful water. I hope. So behind us, the sliding glass door creaked open. James stepped outside, rubbing the back of his neck like he'd just woken up from a nap. What's going on out here? He asked, frowning at the mess around us. Why is the deck all wet? Dylan and I exchanged a glance. How on earth were we supposed to explain this? Oh, nothing much. James, just a little interdimensional pool crisis. No biggie. We had a bit of an issue with the pool pump, I said, opting for a whole truth. James raised an eyebrow. Looks like you had a water park explosion, he joked. You sure everything's okay? Dylan chimed in quickly. We shut it down, all good now. James gave us a skeptical look, but shrugged. Well, if you say, so I'm gonna go get some towels as he headed back. Inside, Dylan let out a long breath that was intense. Tell me about it, I agreed, but hey, we survived, barely, he muttered. We stood there for a moment, the weight of what had just happened sinking. The pool shimmered faintly in the fading light, but it looked normal now. No glowing, no tendrils, no sci-fi, nightmare vibes. You think it'll come back? Dylan asked, quietly. I considered the question, carefully, honestly. I don't know. But if it does, we'll handle it. He grinned. You mean? I'll handle it right. I'm the one who did all the heavy lifting. I teased, Char superhero, you totally saved the day. As strange and terrifying as the whole experience had been, I couldn't help but feel a weird sense of triumph. We'd for something wild, unpredictable, and downright impossible. And we'd made it through together later that night after James had gone to bed. Dylan and I sat by the pool with a couple of sodas watching the stars. So pool day didn't exactly go as planned, he said with a chuckle. I laughed. Yeah, understatement of the year. Think we'll ever tell Dad the truth? I shook my head. Nah, some things are better left as mysteries. Dylan nodded, thoughtfully. Good call as the night settled around us. The pool lay quiet and still just as it should be. Whatever had happened and whatever. That thing was weak. Knew one thing for sure, we'd never look at this pool the same way again. Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and if you're into these kinds of stories, what would you like to hear next? Got a spooky tale of your own? Drop it below, and who knows, we might just share it in a future video. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Love you all.